Fink and the Meaning of Life, Chapter 6, The Office. Mitch is just opening the locks on the front door of Fink's Comics and Magic when we arrive. I can't help noticing the large ring of keys in his hand. "Hey dude and dudette," he says in kind of a drawl. He's always trying to sound like he's from California, when I know he's never even been there. It is my secret hope that he'll move there for real after he graduates. Then maybe Uncle Arthur will retire, and I'll take over the store. A kid can dream, can't he? Mitch gives Lizzie's outfit an approving glance, but she doesn't notice. She's too busy eyeing the key ring. As we follow him inside, I whisper to Lizzie, "We should check out his keys in case my mom is wrong and Dad did leave an extra set in the store. Then we wouldn't have to go uptown." She nods in agreement. I was thinking the same thing. "I'll go ask Mitch for them." "Wait," Lizzie says, pulling me back. "He's going to want to know why you want them. Do you really want to tell him about the box?" She's right. I don't want to know about it. I don't want him to know about it. He might try to lay claim to it somehow, or at the very least make fun of me. I know the store keys are under the counter, so all we have to do is wait until an opportunity arises. We pretend to be looking through the comics while Mitch finishes opening the register. He asks me to watch the front for a minute while he gets a new cash drawer ready in the back. "No problem," Lizzie and I reply at the same time. "That was too easy," Lizzie whispers once he disappears into the back room. We run behind the counter and she grabs the keys. I unzip my bag and we quickly try each key in each keyhole. No luck. Not even a nibble. Well, at least now I'm convinced that Harold's office is our only hope. My uncle heads behind the counter just as I'm zipping up my bag. He gives me a suspicious look. "What you doing?" he asks, glancing at me, to my bag, to Lizzie. Besides his physical resemblance to my dad, his voice is identical to Dad's too. This always creeps me out when it doesn't make me want to cry, that is. "Nothing," I answer, swinging the bag over my shoulder. Mitch asked us to watch the front, so we were just, watching the front. "Yeah," Lizzie says, sliding past Uncle Arthur and around the front of the counter. "And now we're going to buy some candy." I smile weakly at my uncle and join Lizzie on the other side. She's already placed 2 bags of Twizzlers and a king-size Snickers on the countertop. "Job interview?" my uncle asks, giving my outfit the once-over. I shake my head. Lizzie's dad is bringing us to work with him. It's amazing how easily I can lie to my uncle. All I have to do is remember the time he was supposed to take me on the father-son campout in 6th grade and never showed up. It may not excuse the lying, but it makes me feel a little less guilty. He gives Lizzie her change and puts her candy in a bag. She flashes him a bright smile and says, "Thanks." We wave as we go through the door. "That was a close one," she says, when we were halfway down the block. "Why?" I ask, watching as she unwraps one of the packs of Twizzlers. "It's not like we stole anything." She hands me a Twizzler, and I remember who I'm talking to. "We didn't steal anything, right?" I ask. "No, we didn't steal anything," she says. "But I wouldn't be surprised if that uncle of yours thinks we did." "I guess I can't blame him," I say. "Each year the store loses a few $100s in stolen candy and comics. That's so like you," she says, sucking on her Twizzler. "Always trying to find the best in people. Even him. Hey, weren't you going to buy Skittles for the security guard? Not Twizzlers?" "I panicked, all right? Just eat your Twizzler." At that moment, we catch sight of the bus rounding the corner. We run towards it. The bag thumping against my back, 2 businessmen are waiting at the stop, both holding bus passes in their hands. The bus pulls up to the curb, and I ask Lizzie if she knows how much the bus costs. Mom has always taken care of this sort of thing. I've really got to start paying more attention. $2 each way, she says. I checked this time. "You have money, right?" "You don't?" "I just spent it on candy." I pull out my wallet as the Girl Scout troop gets in line behind us, giggling and pushing each other. The 2 men step on, stick their bus passes in the slot, and pull them back out. They're the same Metro cards we were supposed to use on the subway. Those things carry a lot of power in this city. The driver is waiting for us. I hand him our $4. It's a good thing I have my usual 8, or else we wouldn't have enough to get home. "Quarters only," the driver says, not even looking at us. "We don't have any quarters," I say meekly. The driver rolls his eyes and booms, "Anyone got a card?" The Girl Scout behind us are getting restless. I hear one of them murmur, "Dorks," and a few others giggle, for their rudeness. I may just demand a free box of cookies this year. "I'll do it," a middle-aged woman in the front seat says, standing up. I elbow Lizzie when I see the woman is wearing a Yankees cap and sweatshirt, just like the guy who helped us in the subway. Good thing baseball fans are so superstitious. The woman lowers her card into the slot twice and grabs the $4 from my hand. Anxious to be away from the front of the bus, we make our way to the back and take the last 2 seats. Lizzie immediately turns and stares out the window. I know she feels bad for messing up our second mode of public transportation. Hey, Lizzie, one of the Girl Scouts just made another one cry. That should make you feel better. I can see her smile, but in the reflection of the glass, Lizzie gets upset easily, but it doesn't take much to cheer her up. I took out my book, glad to have a few minutes to study the diagram on time travel and string theory. But before I can build a time machine out of strings, I need to figure out what the heck they are all talking about. I have just opened the dog-eared page when I am hit by the overpowering stench of a garlic that had suddenly engulfed the bus. I look around widely for the source and find a man in a construction worker's outfit nibbling on what can only be a sandwich made completely out of garlic cloves. Why does no one else notice? I can't say anything to Lizzie without him hearing, and he doesn't look like the type of person I'd want to insult. With his insanely small nibbles, it takes him 10 blocks to finish it. By that time, beads of sweat are clearly visible on his forehead. He crumples the wrapper and sticks it back in his lunchbox. He may be smelly, but at least he's tidy. Ours is the next stop, Lizzie says, folding her small city map. I nod, afraid to open my mouth, lest the smell of garlic get inside. Although the sandwich is gone, the stench has gained in strength. I would have never thought this was possible. The man is superhuman. Move over, superhuman. Here comes Garlic Man, able to leap tall buildings in a single smelly breath. I put my book away in preparation for our arrival. All I managed to learn is the strings theory doesn't actually involve strings, but rather tiny bands of energy waves. Those will be harder to find than regular string. We get out of our seats and hold on to the poles by the back door. The bus slows as it approaches the corner, but then it rolls right past. At first, this registers only faintly, but as the back half of the bus fully passes the stop, I realize the driver isn't going to pull over at all. Wait, Lizzie yells up to the front. You just passed our stop! The driver doesn't slow down. A woman with white hair and silver cane leans forward and says to Lizzie, Young lady, if the driver doesn't see anyone waiting at a stop, he will not pull over. If you want the bus to stop, you have to press that yellow strip up there. You see? We follow as she points shakily to a thick strip of what looks like yellow tape. I realize I've seen people pressing it before, but never paid much attention. Oh, right, Lizzie mumbles. Thanks. Can I still press it now? I ask the woman. She nods happily. I reach up easily and push hard on the tape. A bell dings once. I guess short people just have to ride around and around the city until a taller person helps them. Now the driver will pull over at the next stop. You see, the woman says, you're only 2 blocks from where you wanted to be. She settles back in her seat. Who says New Yorkers aren't helpful? Of course, 2 more blocks means we're stuck in Garlic Man for that much longer. I wonder if anyone died from the odor of assault. It turns out the next stop is full of people waiting, so the driver would have stopped anyways. The bus pulls over and the front door opens, but not the back. Lizzie yanks at the handle, but it doesn't budge. Garlic Man reaches over and pushes a metal strip next to the door, and the door swings open. I take back my mean thoughts about him. It's obvious he was just another caring citizen. We hurry down 3 steps before the driver can change his mind and pull away. My left foot sticks to each step as I descend, having picked up gum somewhere along the way. When we are clear of the crowd, I ask Lizzie to wait a while. I use the curb to scrape the gum off the bottom of my shoe. Holy cow, she says, grabbing my arm tight. When she was 6, Lizzie's dad trained her to use explicitives like holy cow and good golly instead of the other more colorful ones she had brought home from her first day of kindergarten. I almost lose my balance since I have 1 foot in the air and one arm being pulled nearly out of its socket. I follow her gaze. In the gutter about 2 feet away from us is a playing card, face up. Its bottom half is hidden under a Chinese food takeout menu. It's the 8 of Hearts, one of the last 3 missing cards in Lizzie's collection. It's been at least 6 months since she'd found a card. It was beginning to think the final 3 would never turn up. Lizzie breaks her grip on my arm and bends down over the card. Fingers shaking, she grasps it by one corner. She doesn't pull yet enough, and I know she's saying one of her little prayers in hopes that the card will be intact. All too often she finds torn cards, and she won't put those in her collection. Finally, she gives the card a gentle tug, and it slips out fully intact. She heaves a sigh of relief and then holds it high above her head like the winning boxer in a prize fight. Ta-da! She announced. Only 2 more to go. She snaps open her briefcase and slides the card carefully in one of the pockets on top. She takes a few steps in the direction of the office, but stops when I don't move from my spot. What's up? She asks. Aren't you psyched that I found my card? I nod, not really hearing her. If we hadn't missed our stop, if we hadn't veered away from the original plan, we wouldn't have gotten off here, and she wouldn't have found her card. But was it fate that brought us to this spot, or just good luck? What about fate and bad luck? If Dad had taken a different route that day or sat at a red light, 1 second longer, he wouldn't have died. What if the lady who he swerves to avoid hitting had waited 1 more second before crossing the street? Or if she had been holding her package from underneath instead of by the handle, which had broken halfway across the intersection and caused her to stop walking? Or what if it hadn't rained that morning so the street wasn't so slick that Dad's tires lost grip on the road? Or what if I hadn't been sick that day and had been able to go with him? We might have stopped for ice cream first, and then... Are you all right? Lizzie asks, peering into my face and interrupting my thoughts. It isn't like I'll ever get a chance to find out what would have happened if any of those other things had taken place. Unless I do manage to build a time machine, and that isn't looking too promising. I take a deep breath, and another. I'm fine, I reply. Let's go. Me finding that card was a good sign, she says, as we continue walking. A good sign for sure. I hope she's right. Now that we're close by, I'm starting to get nervous. After a few blocks, Lizzie stops in front of one of the tall buildings. She consults the letterhead of my mom's letter from Harold and says, "This is it. The former offices of Harold Fulgard, Esquire." I have to tilt my head all the way back to see the top of it. Neither of us makes a move to go inside. "It's so tall," I say, shading my eyes. "Good thing you won't have a scale to be outside and use as a glass cutter to break into the offices," she says, leading me toward the revolving door. That was my backup plan. The lobby is marble and glass with tall ceilings and 2 banks of elevators. It's quiet, too, like a library. The office is on the 14th floor, Lizzie says. Her voice echoes. There are only a few people in the lobby, none of them paying the slightest attention to us. I move closer to the wall and read the signs. "It's this one," I say softly, pointing to the elevators on our right. "Floors 1 through 16. "Looks like you belong," she whispered back, flipping her hair behind her shoulders. She swings her briefcase gently back and forth and walks towards the first elevator. I straighten my back and lift my chin a little. I am sure with my height I could easily pass as a businessman from behind. A very skinny, backpack-wearing businessman. Lizzie is about to press the up button when a voice booms out from across the library. "Where do you think you're going?" We freeze. My heart starts racing. A man comes up behind us and we slowly turn around. He's wearing a black security guard uniform. We'd already agreed that if we got stopped, Lizzie would do the talking. To be honest, I don't think I could speak anyway. I hope she doesn't try to pull out the feminine wiles. To her credit, Lizzie is very composed. She looks the guard in the eye and says calmly, "Our uncle works on the 14th floor. We wanted to surprise him." He doesn't answer right away, and I try sending Lizzie a telepathic message. "Offer him the king-size Snickers bar. The Snickers!" But she either doesn't receive my message or she's ignoring it. The guard finally says, "All visitors need to check in at the front desk. Follow me." Our shoulders sag with relief as we follow him to the long marble desk in the corner of the lobby that we somehow managed to miss seeing when we came in. He steps behind the desk and puts out his hand. "Driver's license," he says in a tone that indicates he has asked this many times before. Lizzie and I exchanged a look of surprise. I knew I could pass for a businessman. We're only 12, Lizzie says. "Almost 13, I quickly add. "School ID?" he asks. "It's summer," Lizzie replies. The guard sighs. "All right, I'll need you to sign in here." He pushes a clipboard across the counter to us, and then one at a time, I'll take your picture. "Our picture?" I ask. He nods. "Every visitor's pass has your picture on it." This isn't going as smoothly as I'd hope. Lizzie signs the clipboard and pushes it over to me. She signed it as Tia Castaway, the name of the little girl in our favorite Disney movie when we were little, Escape to Witch Mountain. She gives me a little kick on the shin, and since we're supposed to be brother and sister, I carefully write, "Tony Castaway," and push the clipboard back to the man. He takes our picture with a camera that is attached to the computer behind the desk. A few seconds later, 2 visitor badges spew out of the printer. He hands them over and instructs us to peel off the back and wear them on our person at all times. We hurry toward the elevator, sticking the badges on our chest without even looking at them. Only when we're safely on the elevator do I notice my face staring back at me from Lizzie's shirt, one eye closed, the name Tony Castaway typed underneath. We quickly switch badges. "This is a really slow elevator," I observed. "Yeah," Lizzie says. "It's almost like we're not moving." I look at the panel of numbers. That's because neither of us pushed the button for our floor. I lean over and push 14. The elevator jumps a little and begins to ascend. We start to laugh. Lizzie says, "You think we'd never been out of the house before." I watch the floor numbers light up one at a time as we approach each one. "Did you know," I tell Lizzie, "that most buildings don't have 13 floors because the number 13 is supposed to be bad luck? Of course, there still is a 13th floor. They just call it the 14th floor." Lizzie narrows her eyes. So what you're saying is since we're going to the 14th floor, we're going to have bad luck? Maybe it's better when Lizzie doesn't listen when I share my knowledge of the world. Forget I said anything. When the doors open, we get out and follow the signs towards Suite 42. Along the way, we pass assorted businessmen and women, all who either ignore us or give us the forced smile that adults usually give to kids, where just the corners of their mouth turn up. We finally find the right door. It still had the Folgard and Levine Esquire's brass nameplate on it. Lizzie steps back and motions for me to try the door. I take a deep breath and turn the handle. Of course it doesn't budge. Turn it the other way, Lizzie advises. That's not going to work, I say. You always turn a knob to the right to open it. Nevertheless, I try it. I'm so surprised to feel it twist under my hand that I don't even push the door for a second. Wow, that actually worked, Lizzie exclaims, pushing through the door. I quickly follow and close it behind us. There is no electricity in the office, but enough light comes through the window that we can easily see around us. It's like a ghost town of any office. Shelves of desks and filing cabinets, stained carpet, empty cardboard boxes, a broken lamp. Let's get moving, Lizzie whispers. You look in Harold's office, and I'll check out the waiting area. I nod and head into the office that had Harold's nameplate stuck on it. First, I check the old wooden desk that sits in the center of the room. It's a nice desk. I wonder why he abandoned it. The drawers are all hanging out, which makes it easy. I feel around the insides of them and also check the bottoms of each drawer in case the keys are taped there. All I come away with are a few splinters, 3 paper clips, and a business card for a moving company. I can hear Lizzie in the next room opening and closing drawers too. According to the plan, I crawl around on the carpet feeling for lumps as I go along. About halfway around the room, I actually feel something. It's about a foot away from the wall, and just the right size for a set of 4 keys and a keychain. Hey, Lizzie, I call out as loud as I dare. I might have found something. She comes running in, and I point to the lump. She runs back. When she returns, she is carrying her briefcase and my bag, which we had left by the front door. She unsnaps her briefcase and pulls out the screwdriver. She hands it to me, which I think is a nice gesture since I'm sure she'd be as capable as cutting the carpet as I would. I would feel guilty doing what we're about to do, but the carpet is so old and stained and torn that there's no question the new tenants are going to replace it. In a way, we're helping them out. Use the sharp edge. I hook the screwdriver under the edge of the carpet where it meets the wall. Then I move it back and forth like a saw. Even though the carpet is old, the fiber is strong. Lizzie holds the 2 edges of the rug apart as I go along, revealing the concrete floor beneath. I'm sweating by the time I slice my way to the lump. One last slice and the carpet reveals its hidden treasure. Lizzie screams and jumps back so fast she crashes to the floor, limbs flying. She covers her mouth to keep herself from screaming again and finally manages to scramble to her feet. You're such a girl, I tell her, letting the carpet fall back into place. It's long dead. Instead of the keys to my box, we had uncovered the final resting place of a little brown mouse. Lizzie shivers. Let's just finish looking around. This place is giving me the creeps. The only place I haven't searched yet is the ceiling. It's one of those drop-down types where you can push on the panels as they lift up. Flashlight, I say, holding out my hand, like a nurse handing a doctor a scalpel. Lizzie repeats, flashlight, and lays it in my hand. I stand up on the desk and can easily reach the ceiling. Pushing on top of one of the panels, I move it aside so I can stick my flashlight up there. I have to clear away a cobweb before sticking my head in. Good thing I'm doing this instead of Lizzie. For a tough girl, she is brought to her knees by things with multiple legs. See anything? She asks. Her voice sounds muffled from up here. Pipes, dust, and wires, I call down. I shine the light slowly around, but just see more of the same. Do you want to take a look? She doesn't answer. I repeat my question. She still doesn't answer. I duck my head back out of the ceiling to see Lizzie standing stiffly in the center of the room. A very round and red-faced policeman in a full NYPD outfit stands at her side. The security guard from downstairs almost completely fills the doorway. All I can think to say as I climb off the desk is, I told you we should have given him the king-size Snickers.